Today we are talking about our top 5 speculative fiction books, each of us having a different top 5. And I think we're both people who like struggle to like pick favorites and like rank them. So like caveat, like this is there's lots of books that I love and that I think are really good and maybe even like better written than these, but these are the ones that like I had like the strongest emotional, like positive emotional reaction and that I like would go back and read again, or like if I haven't already read them multiple times.
Yeah. And then I would say another thing as far as like these books being impactful is not only just like having an emotional reaction as a reader, but like as a writer kind of being like, oh, this is a wonderful example of like kind of like what a book can be, how it can kind of make you feel, like all the different things you can kind of include, or just something that you kind of admire as a work that you might kind of want to emulate in your own writing. So I don't know, I think probably took some of that into account picking these as well.
Yes. Yeah. If any of my writing was ever compared to any of these books, I would be like, excellent, I've arrived. Mission success.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, they're like there's books that I could say like have just as good or better writing and like plot structure, but these are like from the heart favorite books. Okay, so Erin, we'll start with your number 5.
Number 5. Okay, so my number 5 is probably Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. So the first book in the Wheel of Time series. Preface, I have not read the entire Wheel of Time series, so there might be people who are like, oh, there's such better books in that series. That's great. And
also, like, excellent. I haven't read them.
Yes. And also it's a little funny that, it's funny to me that I included this because I feel like I've like complained about this book before because it does kind of have like a cyclical structure in a way. But all that aside, it is still just like such an interesting world, and like, you know, magic system, and the characters are really fascinating, and like a lot of people that at least I felt like I wanted to root for and things like that. And it really, especially near the end, I don't know, I just feel like the world is so clear and kind of, I don't know, not necessarily inviting, but really easy to kind of like, you know, be immersed in. And I just thought it was a really kind of interesting take on a lot of different things, you know, kind of different as a fantasy novel. And just really had a good sense of like, oh no, this is a like solid adventure story reading it. So
yeah. I really like that book too. It's so good. Maybe one day we'll both finish all of Wheel of Time and we can make a video about it.
Yes. We can be like, I don't know, like have like one of those like yarn things and I don't know.
Yes. It's like, yeah.
All right. So what is your number 5?
My number 5 would be The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. I haven't read everything he's written, but I've read a good chunk of it at this point. And the more of it I read, the more I feel like the first Mistborn trilogy is like his best, in my opinion. And the third book in particular, I really, really enjoyed. And like I remember listening to it while I was like on the Stairmaster, and like certain things would happen. And I was like, wow. Like, and I love when books make me like blow my mind. And like what he does with the side characters in the Mistborn trilogy, especially in the third book, like kind of opened my mind to what you can do with side characters. And like, yeah, some of my favorite characters of all time are in that last book, and just their arcs. To me, the arcs all conclude in such a satisfying way. And I'm someone who's like, I'm a sucker for beginnings. And like in my own stuff, I feel like my beginnings are always better than my endings. And this is just, it was such a good ending for me. Which I guess, so read all of Mistborn and then you can read the third one. And it's really good. Okay, so number 4.
Number 4. I struggled so much, as you were saying, with like ranking these, but especially I had it between Frankenstein by Mary Shelley and then Dracula by Bram Stoker. I'm not sure. So I'll give a small shout out to Frankenstein. I think that was one of the first classic novels and one of the first closer to like, I don't know, horror or more like frightening novels that I read, where I was really surprised how much I enjoyed it. However, when we're talking about emotional impact and just like enthusiasm, I loved Dracula.
You talk about it a lot.
I do. I will not shut up about Dracula. I really enjoyed that book. Again, way more than I expected to. I just love Van Helsing. I feel like he's the dramatic person that you love to read about in fiction. You wouldn't necessarily want to deal with in real life, maybe, but I don't know. But yes, that is it's just really kind of really interesting because it's I don't know if it would technically qualify as a frame tale, but just the way he uses different points of view, different kinds of media. Like there's like newspaper clipping, or not clippings, like photocopied in there, but like the way he's telling it is like, this is like an article, this is someone's diary. And also just like the, I don't know. I feel like it had a good mix of like narrative and also the characters being really reflective and kind of just like pondering things for a little bit. And there are just so many different things happening in that book, but I feel like it's not overwhelming, and it's really just fascinating where you can kind of see this complex story that doesn't really take place over that long of a time, but you just get so much out of it. And then, it all just kind of like marries at the end really well. And it's just really satisfying, I thought. So
okay, I have never read Dracula, and because I'm not really a vampire person, but I feel like I should. I don't know.
Yeah.
You sell it well.
Yeah. Well, I just get really enthusiastic. So I don't know.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right. What is your number 4?
My number 4 is Project Hail Mary, which kind of feel like some of these are like, a lot of the books on my list are very popular right now. So maybe I'm a little basic because Project Hail Mary is being made into a movie, but I've read it twice in the past, like couple of years, which I feel like is like a quick turnaround to read it twice. Actually, I feel like I've read it. I might have also listened to it. I maybe read it 3 times. I just really liked it. And like, it's number 4 because, and not higher, because like some of the writing isn't like my favorite in the whole world. And like, I also read The Martian by Andy Weir. So yeah, he wrote Project Hail Mary. And like some of the stuff to me, I'm like, this feels very similar. But it has, I mean, you can't talk about Project Hail Mary without like spoiling things, right? So like it starts with a guy waking up on a spaceship with amnesia. And he's like, how did I get here? Why can't I remember anything? Like, what's going on? And then the story goes from there. And like, the less you know about it going into it, the better, which I love. I love big reveals. I love mysteries. And it has, I'm just gonna say, it explores a concept in sci-fi that is like a super popular sci-fi concept in like the best way that I've ever seen. Like, it's like, when I read it, I was like, this feels like a defining story in this genre to me. And I was like, this feels like he nailed it. He got it. Like, I feel like that about like the idea of like Superman as like a cultural icon is like, I was like, oh, what a great idea to come up with Superman. That's a great pop culture. Like, that had to exist. And that's how I feel about Project Hail Mary. I was like, he found it. He got it. It's so good and so fun. And I love the characters. Yeah, highly recommend. And I don't look at anything. Don't watch the trailer. Just trust me and read it.
Go in fresh.
Go in fresh and yes, exactly.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't read that one either, but have heard it highly recommended by you and others. So,
yes.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan. So what's your number 3?
Probably The Fellowship of the Ring. So, if you don't know, first book of Lord of the Rings, well, in the trilogy. And it does feel weird to put that at number 3 and not like the top, because I think we all like can acknowledge that it is just a really super impressive and impactful work of fiction.
I mean, it's not at the top of mine either, so I understand. Well. It's great, yeah.
Yes, but I guess reasons that I'm, putting it in my top 5. I mean, like, if you want to talk about an immersive book and an immersive world, like, if you know how much work Tolkien put into, kind of designing that, but also just the way that it does come through, even in that first book of just getting you into Middle Earth, it's just like that level of world building. I think we all are like, that's the goal. That's the dream. And then, just him being able to put all these good themes in there and like, Tom Bombadil. I'm just Tom like, Bombadil's that's just fun. Such a sweet little chunk of that book.
Are like, why is this here? And it's like, that's the point.
Yes, exactly.
He's a fun guy.
Yes.
And his wife, right? He's got like, Goldberry is just like, in my mind, it's really funny because Tom Bombadil's like, I'm Tom Bombadil. And Goldberry is like this like majestic.
Yeah, she's like some magical creature. Well, so is Tom Bombadil, but in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, only. Well, I guess they debate whether he could have the ring, but I'm like, I don't know. I have slight confidence that he could handle it. I don't know. We'll
We can make a video about that one day too.
But anyway, all that to say, it's just really rich. I don't know. It's just really great, and the characters are wonderful, and people that you really can kind of admire. Understanding they're fictional, but still just be like, oh, this is a good encapsulation of all good things in this book, and it just is a really enjoyable thing to read and then to kind of hold as an example as a writer. So, yeah. All right. What is your number 3?
My number 3 is The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. And I haven't read the whole series. It's The Gentleman Bastards is the series. And I have not read all of it, but I'm still putting it on the list because I loved it. And the reason I haven't read all of it is because there's other things that I had to read first. So I will get back to it though, because I love the writing style of Lies of Locke Lamora. I listened to it and I thought it was hilarious. I thought the narrator was really good, but also just, it's almost like kind of Charles Dickens, kind of Dickensian, but it's like in the fantasy setting. And I love the setting of it. They're in like this, it's like this Venetian type city, and there's like this mafia, and the mafia boss is so cool. He's got like shark skin boots, and like there's a lot of shark themes in it, which is just really cool. And the main character, Locke Lamora, is like a smooth talking thief guy, but he's not annoying to me because like he genuinely cares about the people around him, and also so many things go wrong for him. Like the narrative takes him through it. Like he suffers a lot, and I also really like what they did with magic in this world. It's almost like low fantasy, or like it starts off feeling like there's not a lot of magic at the beginning, and like the way he introduces magic, I think makes a lot of sense, and I really like it. And just the writing is so fun, and like, I don't want to spoil it. So, but as an example, okay, this isn't a huge spoiler, but like as an example of like, he kind of goes off on these little tangents to like explain the world, and like he talks about like how these like brothels, and like tells the story of how this brothel went from being owned by men to owned by women. And it's both hilarious and like, you're like, yes, way to go for like the women rising. It's just like, he's such a good writer, and I felt so many things reading it, and the plot was very twisty and turny, and I just had a lot of fun with it. It was really fun. It was just fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
We love it. We love a good fun read.
We love a fun read. And the writing was so good. Yeah, I'm like, I could not, I don't know how to write like that. It was I thought it was crazy. Okay. What's your number 2?
Getting into top
ones.
Okay, so my second one on the ranking is The Goose Girl by Shannon Hale.
I love The Goose
and
Girl.
It's so good. So it is a retelling of I don't know if it would be considered a folk tale, fairy tale, whatever, but some story that already existed. And then I guess like out of the 5, this is the one I read the earliest. So I think I read it when I was like 10 or 11, because it is, I think, geared toward like the middle grade category. But it has just stuck with me because it's so well told. Like the narrator, or like the main character, is just, I don't know. I know I said I think Fellowship of the Ring was really rich, but I feel that way about this one too. It's just so rich with just like the way, I don't know, it's just got this such a good kind of both whimsical but adventurous kind of feeling to it. And then, I don't know, the stakes are so high throughout most of the story that it's just kind of like, but it keeps you in that kind of like, kind of still wondering what's going to happen while having all that kind of, just fun and interesting aspect to it. And I think that book is probably the one that has given me the greatest sense of, I want to write something that kind of feels like this to read. So that one has, just stuck with me for a really long time, and is a really huge inspiration writing wise. So, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I need to reread Goose Girl. It's been a long time. I don't even really remember
the plot.
I just remember it was good feelings.
Yeah.
And there was magic.
Yes. Yeah. It's interesting. It's interesting magic. Like definitely kind of like a softish magic system, but I guess, it fit that book. But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. What is your second one?
My number 2 is a book that I read this year, and it rocked my world. It is The Sword of Kaigan by M.L. Wong. And I am not a crier in books or movies or ever. I don't know that I ever cried reading a book before this book, and I'm 27. So like I read a lot of books. So like I'm not a huge, and this book made me cry twice. So like talking about like positive emotional feel, like I still left it feeling really good. But I have never read a book that explored the themes and like relationships in this book the way that this book did. So like the concept of it is that it's the Sword of Kaigen because it's like Japanese inspired fantasy. And Kaigen is an island, and these people live on this part of the island that's like the part that's the first line of defense. And so it's called the Sword of Kaigen because, and the people on it are referred to themselves as the sword because they're there to defend the island. But it's been a long time since there's war, so the men all feel like we're rusty swords, and the women are like, you know, living in this very patriarchal culture. And that's kind of the setup, and the plot goes from there, and it starts, you know, it's about this, it has perspectives from a mom and her son, you know, living in this, the mom is in this patriarchal society, the son is like, you know, I know my whole purpose is to be the sword, and the characters are just so good. And it was just a great read. It changed my, like, it affected how I think about motherhood and like all these things, and it was still also awesome and had cool fight scenes. So like, I can't recommend it enough. I really loved it. Yeah. And it's written by a woman, which none of the other books on my list are, I don't think. So, but I really want to read more of her stuff, and I haven't, but. Again, because I'm a slow reader. Yeah. But I will, because Sword of Kaigen was so good.
I remember you talking about that one right after you finished it.
Oh yeah, I was like insane. Almost done, and like my husband was like, "Hey, I'm going to bed. Are you?" And I just looked up at him, and I was like, I'm not going to sleep until I finish this book. And I was just like crying, and it was so good.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I am obsessed with it. Yeah.
Great. Makes sense that it's high in the ranking.
It is. But it's not the top.
It's not the top.
So, Erin, what is your number one? So we both brought physical books of our number one. So feel free to reveal.
A little zoom. Okay, my number one is Till We Have Faces by C.S. Lewis. This is my favorite book, period. I just, this was my mind blown experience reading this one. And I think the main reason that is because the narrator is so deeply unreliable. And I feel like that's not even spoilers to say. Like, you kind of get that sense early on. And it is so just like cool and kind of thrilling the way that kind of culminates in the end. This is also a retelling of a myth. So it's Cupid and Psyche. How faithful he stays to the original myth, I don't think it's like, I think it's like the bare bones. Yeah, he kind of maintains it, but you know, takes a lot of liberties. So if that's kind of a, you know, not something you love, then I don't know, you might not like this one. But I thought the way that he did it really just gave it a lot of a fullness for kind of like the relationships of the characters in the story. And then, just the kind of progression that the narrator takes is really super interesting, probably really relatable because it's just so clear how flawed she is. And then, her kind of growth, and then kind of seeing like, you know, it has a good exploration of like what you think is important versus what actually is important. So her kind of having a growth arc and then kind of evaluating it at the end is just, I don't know, it's just really good. And it's also an interesting story. And so it's just a really awesome like metaphor that's also enjoyable to read without being so focused on, I guess, like the point or the message. So
yeah, that's a good way to explain it.
Yeah. Just love it.
It's very, yes. Yeah, it's very good.
All right. What's your number one?
My number one is The Hobbit. Like you, Lord of the Rings. Also, I love Lord of the Rings. It's very good. It's a fun time. But The Hobbit holds a very special place in my heart. but it maybe slightly shares with Percy Jackson. But like these are like of like books I read as a kid that like made me want to be a writer. Like this is one my mom read it out loud to me and my 3 younger brothers, and like she did all the voices and we read it over like multiple days. And I was like, when she read it, I was like, I was in Mirkwood with the spiders. I was like, it felt like, you know, there with Smog and like I felt like I saw it all so clearly in my head, and I really, really love the writing in this. Like, I love the writing in Lord of the Rings, but this is like obviously more. It's a little like warmer and like a little more friendly, and it just is like a warm hug of a writing style. I feel like, and so I absolutely love the story. I love the writing, and I really love Bilbo as a main character. Like as a kid, I read a lot of YA, and I didn't feel like I didn't often relate to girls my age, and I didn't often relate to characters that were supposed to be representative of like my demographic in books of like child girl. But I related to Bilbo because Bilbo was like, I'm scared of going out there and like I don't want to. And that was how I felt a lot as a kid. So like the fact that Bilbo goes out and he has this great adventure, and then, you know, he comes back and like he's like, I'm gonna write this story. I just was really inspiring to me, and I try to like, it's like a thing that I try to live in my daily life of like, I want to go out and pursue the adventure even if I'm afraid of it, and but sometimes rather be inside. And, eating snacks and reading books. So yeah, I love The Hobbit. I feel like it's maybe is kind of a basic one, but it's so good, and basic things are basic because
for a reason.
They're good. Yeah. So it's for a reason. So yeah, love The Hobbit. Big influence.
Big influence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. From the master himself.
As I love, again, I'm also a big Brandon Sanderson fan just because I love his podcast and stuff. But so I feel like I quote him all the time. But Brandon Sanderson calls Tolkien Granddaddy Tolkien.
Yes.
And I'm like, yes, that's right, Granddaddy Tolkien. I would love for Tolkien to be my grandfather. Unfortunately, he's dead. So that's never going to happen. All right. Anyway, on that note, sorry. Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, those are our top 5 speculative fiction novels. If you have read any of these and also love them, you know, we'd love to hear about that and just, you know, geek out over them with you. If you have other top 5 or just, you know, really influential books that you want to share, you know, I guess we're mainly focusing on speculative ones, but we're not going to tell you what to do. You know, please comment, and we'll, you know, have a fun conversation about that. All right. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.